response could be that wouldn't also hurt other U.S. interests.
Lawmakers do have the right to review additional arms sales before they go through. The main news again, the UK's new Prime Minister Rishi Sunak is forming his government after warning the country faces a profound economic crisis following the departure of Liz Truss from Downing Street. Russia's unsubstantiated claim that Ukraine is planning to use a dirty bomb is being voiced today at the UN Security Council. And sportswear giant Adidas has cut ties with Kanye West after the rapper's recent anti-Semitic outbursts. And that is the latest feature story news. Simon Marks reporting.
And here we go, 7:21. Good morning. It's KCHW 102.7 and a final Wednesday with Mr. Mike Bentz. Good morning, Mr. Bentz.
Hey, good morning to you from a dark and rainy and stormy Chihuahua.
I hear that. I can see it too. You
can see it.
I can see it on the weather. I got the weather forecast all up. So yeah.
Ah, okay, yeah. Well, we haven't got any snow down here, but I got a feeling they're getting snow up high. It's only 35 or 36 degrees this morning in my house. So,
wow, and it's going to stay cool.
Yeah. Well, it's that time of the year.
It is.
We've had a phenomenal run of nice weather.
It's just crazy that last Monday you were setting at 80, and this, and today you're setting at 46 for a high. Half of it. So crazy.
Yeah, it's like I was reading or listening to somebody the other day, and they said, I went from my bikini to my fur coat.
All in like a span of 24 hours, right?
Yeah, exactly. No. And actually, the leaves haven't really started falling off any of the trees yet. So we kind of want some cold weather without snow here for a while. Otherwise, as you know, we'll have all kinds of branches and stuff in the streets.
Yeah, kind of crazy here in Maine. I was like out in a t-shirt and a shorts last night. It was so humid and about 65 degrees at 11 o'clock at night. It was crazy.
You just wait till those nor'easters start coming in.
The weather's so odd here. It's like one day it can be like, like what you're talking about, just cold and chilly and stuff. And then the next day it's so humid that it feels deceivingly warm outside.
So are you like in a pocket? Like to me, Chihuahua's in a pocket, so it's pretty temperate. I mean, the rugged weather seems to be north of us or south of us.
Yeah, because as the crow flies, I'm probably 45 miles from the coast. So, like when the hurricanes were coming up the East Coast and they dwindled down, but it was still high winds and stuff. Our winds here were like 30 miles an hour. We're on the coast, they're 70, So yeah, there's a buffer there. But I don't have the convenience of setting inside of a bowl like you do in Chihuahua.
Yeah, but you've got this igloo thing over your hot tub, so that's pretty close.
It is. I call it my spaceship because it really looks like a 60s space capsule, and it's got little windows now. And I don't know how it's going to do in the snow, but it's working really well. So.
Okay. Well,
it's all an experiment.
Pretty soon they'll be for sale on Walmart.
Oh, that's where I got it, actually. I did.
Do that, or you'll have a YouTube video saying, "This is Scott setting up his igloo. This is Scott inside of his igloo."
I did post a picture that said I was crossing through the Orion Nebula.
Is that the picture I saw where you look really, really weird?
Yeah, really scared, and it's dark.
Really scared, yeah.
And you can see colored lights. See, that was the thing. All right. It does, though. It gets my geekiness going because it does the little. It's like a little building over my hot tub. If you don't know what we're talking about, and it looks like a space capsule. It's so cool. So, not that I'm sitting in there going 10, 9, 8, 7. But I could be very easily.
Oh, okay.
All right,
Okay.
all right.
So it's going to be like those dining tents they have now at some restaurants. So you can go outside and
Yes,
have a
yes.
meal under a tent,
It's
except you've
exactly
got a
the
hot
same
tub
thing.
under it. Okay.
Exactly.
Okay. All right.
All right.
Well, necessity is the mother of invention,
It
right?
is. It is. I couldn't afford a regular hot tub, so I got one of those cheap inflatable ones. But they say they don't do too well in the winter, so hence the rocket ship cover. There you go.
Ah,
And I did the
ah,
whole thing for I think under $500. So that's Scott.
ah.
I am, thank you, Captain Cheap. It's just like around the radio station, I do something and they go, looks like we're gonna need more duct tape and bubble gum for Scott.
Well, you'd be proud of Michelle. I was in there last week for a meeting in that area where all the chairs are. It's starting to get all kind of organized and set up. And she's really
Nice.
starting to promote that as a place to have meetings. And I mean, she's a way better housekeeper than you
Oh,
are,
I'm
Scott.
sure she is. And we've got that giant plasma TV.
Right?
So like if you have a presentation, it can be shown. If you have what do you call it, a PowerPoint or something like that. And we also you have to darken the room out, but we do have a projector up there too. So
Well,
and it's
really?
and
Is it mounted up high?
it's on top of our rack. It was actually mine, and I was running out of places to pack things when I left, so I left my movie screen, an actual real screen, and the projector. So
Oh, really?
yeah,
Oh, okay.
so I hope they find use for it. Because
Oh,
I bought it back in the day now you can get a projector for nothing. But back when I bought that thing, it was like $1,000, like
oh
20,
yeah.
20
Yeah.
years ago. And the bulbs are like $400. Where now a bulb for a projector is like 25. So it's just like, I figured the chances of it breaking, traveling 3,000 miles. And so it's one of those things, when it does, it's 20 years old. But when it does finally go, just throw it away.
Yeah.
Because who's going
Yeah.
to, for the $400 bulb, you can just go buy a new projector.
Yeah, and it's about the size of like a router now. I mean,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
I mean,
and mine's big, more like half of a VCR. So
right.
all right,
Yeah. Yeah. Had a carrying case and everything else.
yeah,
And then when you fired it up, enough heat came off that you could heat the room at the same time too.
I had a bad experience with that too. Is I was using it in our basement, lots of static electricity. So this is kind of like a danger warning too, I guess. Lots of static electricity, and I didn't use the remote, and I walked over to shut it down, and an electric shock, jumped from the machine to my finger about I don't know, inch and a half, 2 inches is how far it arced, and when that
Hmm.
happened, the bulb blew. And,
Hmm.
when I went to change the bulb, I got out the directions and I read it, and it says if the bulb ever blows, get everyone out of the room because it's full of mercury. Well, that would have been helpful information, like a warning on top of the unit or something, because reading it after the fact, after the bulb was blown, does you no good. But so I don't know how much of my family inhaled mercury vapor from that bulb, but it's a thing.
So have you asked if any of them are growing any extra appendages?
Yeah, not yet. So everybody seems to be okay. But
Oh,
yeah, that
okay.
kind of freaks you out when you read that in the manual. It's like this would be like a helpful sticker on top of the unit. Come on. Yeah. All
Yeah,
right.
but that falls in. You were supposed to read the manual before you have this.
Yeah, but I'm a guy, right? We just put it
That's
together
true.
and use it.
That's true. And who reads the manual anymore?
That's
You
right.
got YouTube.
That's right. All right. Weather-wise today, you got a high of 46, mostly cloudy, occasional light rain, mainly in the morning, 34 for an overnight low. For your Thursday, cloudy skies, just a 10% chance of rain, 50 and 39 for the high and low. Friday, 51 and 38 with those cloudy skies continuing and a 20% chance of rain. Right now, the weekend, not too bad, 15% chance of rain on Saturday with morning clouds and afternoon sun, high of 51, low of 36. On Sunday, though, afternoon showers at 40%, high of 50, low of 40. Next week, you are in the mid to low 40s the whole time with a little bit of rain every day. Gotta make up for all that sun you guys had. Mhm.
Yeah, see, I've decided the year has shifted a little bit. So what we're doing now is we're getting like October weather in November,
Mhm.
you know.
Totally.
Maybe the earth has wobbled just too much.
I think it has. It's the Americans. You know, we eat too much and we've thrown the earth off its axis.
Hey, I'm on a diet, so
Hey.
it can't be because of me.
I'm on a diet too. It's just not working. All right.
Okay.
Let's see. We've got a guest coming in today, Mr. Jason Perrins from the Chihuahua School District, going to talk about how things are going so far this year and some stuff, some grants that they've gotten, and kind of clue us in on what's going on at Guess Elementary as well. So.
Yeah, he's got some pretty cool stuff to talk about, and I know that when I talked to him, I don't know, a week 10 days ago, he's actually even got it out to all of the school district. Hopefully there's some parents listening and things like that, because he's got some pretty nice stuff he wants to get out there. And you know, it's in the print. He's talked about the chamber, and now it's going to be on KCHW, going anywhere from the Canadian border down to the South Hill of Spokane.
All right.
I found that out the other day from Michelle.
All right.
You know, see, I learned a lot from her. I don't know about you.
Yeah. She's a good replacement.
Yeah, she is.
Let's see what else we got. We should run down your list of events coming up. We've got Jason joining us at 8 o'clock, so we've still got some time for that. I also, as you're working your way through it, when you hit the art walk, I've got some stuff to talk about. And I'd say probably right in front of us, maybe Boo Fest coming up this Friday, right?
I think you're right.
It's happening. I mean, it's going along so fast. And what I see on my calendar here is, and I'll let you talk about a little bit more about that in a minute. I see Boo Fest starting at 3:30 on Friday. And then we also have the haunted house at the Bradley's Taekwondo, and that goes from 6 until 10. So they're doing it like right after Boo Fest. Good timing there. Haunted House also goes on Saturday night, and both nights, Friday and Saturday, a new play from our wonderful, wonderful Chihuahua Center for the Arts, and that play is called The Marvelous Wonderettes. It's a musical. The last musical they had featured some great female talent, and some of those ladies rejoining the cast for this. So very exciting, guaranteed to be a good show, and that is going to run Friday night, Saturday night, and then Sunday matinee as well at 2 o'clock, right?
That's right.
All right.
Yep. The Wonderettes. Yep.
Well, you're involved with the chamber. What do you know about Boo Fest? I kind of heard you talking about maybe there was some rumors of things that weren't true and are true, and why don't you just clear up all the Boo Fest stuff for us?
Okay, all right. Well, I'll do that. I guess initially you're right. Boo Fest is this Friday from 3:30 to 5:30 in the afternoon, primarily on Main Street, but there'll be maps being distributed. Is where people can go. This year we actually hired a crossing guard for $3.95 out by Safeway. So, you know, the cross right there from Acres United, so that
definitely need
makes
that.
it a little bit safer.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought that was a great idea that people came up with. So you'll have 2 points to crossing on $3.95. One of them, of course, will be the light at Main, and the other one will be out at the crosswalk at Acres.
Okay.
You know, as far as the number of businesses, I checked with Pani on Tuesday, and we have over 50 businesses signed up, which is, wow. I see you saying wow in the background. And they're going to be scattered in a variety of different places. Some of them will, you know, like the chamber will have a place down on Main Street, and some of them will have their own little location. Plus, the usual suspects will be there, you know, Valley Drug, SETI's, Napa, you know, those types of things. The one thing I do want to clear up, it seems to be that the pumpkin contest is a carved pumpkin contest, not a carving pumpkin contest. And so I want to make sure people understand that. The pumpkins themselves can be delivered because of the Chihuahua Arts Guild is actually sponsoring that. Boo Fest is supporting it. It'll be at the SETI's Garden Center.
Okay.
You can bring your pumpkins at about 1 o'clock from 1 to 3. And then from 3:30 to 5:30, they'll be judged, and we have a variety of different prices. For carved pumpkins, there'll be a prize for ages 1 to 8, a separate prize for 9 to 16, and then a separate prize for the adults. And then as far as the other carved pumpkin contest, which is a little bit unique this year, is we're asking businesses to have their own carved pumpkin at their place of location. So there'll be be looked at and judged from that standpoint. Also, there'll be costume contests. There again, it'll run the same age groups. There'll be the best costume from 1 to 8, from 9 to 16, and then adults will be included in that. Those will be taken and looked at SETI's Garden Center. We're going to be setting up like a backdrop and stuff so people can have their picture taken. That'll all be ready to go on Friday.
Excellent.
Let's see. You've already mentioned Bradley's has got the haunted house starting at 6 o'clock that evening. There is 2 ways to get into it. One of them is a $10 fee to go through it. The other one is a $5 fee plus bring, a canned good for the food bank. So either way, you can enter their haunted house. Other than that, I think on Boo Fest, we pretty well got it covered. Last year, we estimated we had somewhere around 800 people attending. This year, we'd like to see the same. We already have had some people from various organizations that have mentioned they're going to be there. So, it's a family-friendly event. We really encourage people to just come out and have a good time, meet your neighbors, talk to the local people that are businesses that are sponsoring it, and look and see what's happening in downtown Chihuahua. And in fact, I've talked about this once before, but Tracy Manley's mural of the deer is completed, and there's actually a bench in front of it, so you can actually take a selfie in front of what I call the Chihuahuan deer. I don't know, Tracy just calls it the deer. But if you want to take a photo op from that standpoint. All right. Boo Fest is happening.
Excellent.
So if we move beyond Boo Fest, we've got on the 26th of November, Small Business Saturdays coming up. That's a sponsored event nationwide. We've participated in it, I think, for the 3 or 4 years running now. There'll be more information coming out of that, but it's really designed to support your local small business. And one of the best taglines I saw that it sticks in my mind is when you go to the big box store, you go to e-commerce, just ask yourself, when's the last time either one of these sponsored your kid's Little League team? I mean, and in my experience has been the vast majority of things you can get in Chihuahua, especially if you're willing to wait a couple of days to get it. And so, take the opportunity to support that small business because it really is one of the things that keep the economy going on a localized basis. On the 3rd of December, that'll be the 8th, I think, or 9th annual City Sidewalks event. Of course, the Chamber does the City Sidewalk side, so, the carolers and the dress up downtown and, things like that. But this year, we're teaming with 2 other organizations. The Farmers Market is going to have a Christmas fair, and the city is closing down 3rd Street from Main to what is next one's King, I guess. There'll be a big tent put up, and Farmers Market is going to have a Farmers Market on December 3rd. Okay. And I know the one they did a couple of years ago was, I loved it. I mean, the number of vendors was like 30 or 35 all over the board as far as what you could get, as far as maybe looking at Christmas presents, holiday gifts, things like that. And then the Creative District is the 3rd leg of the stool. The Creative District's located in the Aaron Huff Cultural Center at the corner of Main and 3rd. And that whole center is going to be decked out as Chihuahua, kind of a play on the Grinch. Okay. I've already seen some of this. They're going inside vendors. And for those of you who've been around a while, about 3 years ago, it was prior to COVID, that center was opened up and they had all the vendors inside, primarily with artsy type stuff. And then we're going to go ahead and take the back side of that is a dance studio, and there'll be music back there the entire time. And it'll rotate through. Various types of musicians or groups are going to be doing Christmas or holiday themed events.
Nice.
And this whole event goes from 10 to 3.
Okay.
And I know one of the issues comes up is people say, well, where are you going to park? And Chihuahua doesn't have a parking problem. They have a parking cultural problem. I got that quote from Paul Setti. I love that. There's plenty of parking once you get over by City Hall, and you have to walk a whole block to get there. So, you know, so please take advantage of that as you come downtown. So, and as always, Chamber Bucks. You know, it's a great holiday gift for those person that's hard to buy for. You know, and I know that you were able to take some Chamber Bucks before you left, and those Chamber Bucks are redeemable in I think 40 different locations in town. So they're treated basically the same as cash, and unlike a lot of different chambers, are the Chihuahua Chamber Bucks are 100% return, which means if you buy $100 worth of Chamber Bucks, that full $100 goes back in the community when you purchase something at a local business.
It does, yeah.
So let's see. I think from a chamber perspective, that's it. I think this week I'll get a update on the auction, but from what I understand, the auction went extremely well. So thank you to the people that were able to attend that, both for the silent auction and the live auction. I happen to be out of town, so I can't give you a firsthand account. But I do know in talking to a couple different people that it was kind of back to the old days. And I was talking to one chamber member, and what she said that this chamber auction was different than a lot of them in the past because she basically was born and raised here, and she didn't know a third of the people in that room.
Oh, really?
Which is really phenomenal if you think about it. That means that the public is starting to endorse and starting to move forward on some of these events, and I've actually seen that. I mean, just at the golf course. I mean, we've had a tremendous amount of new residents up here, and they're starting to figure out how to get engaged. And
Good.
Of course, we at the chamber will help them figure out how to get engaged. So that's part of what we do. So. Let's see. Beyond that, just real quick on the golf course, remind everybody the Rusty Putter is now open weekends only, Friday and Saturday from 8 in the morning until 7 at night, and Sundays from 8 in the morning until 3 in the afternoon. And if you're looking at any kind of a holiday party, you need to call them at 509-935-6807, extension 4, and you can call throughout the week, leave a message, and they'll get back to you. Or you can email rustyputter@chihuahuagolf.com, and they'll respond back to figure out what they can do for a holiday party for you. And what's a little bit unique this year is Sean has made the comment that if somebody wants to do one during the week, especially on a Thursday, then if we can get enough the people attending that event, then we can bring in 1 or 2 employees and hold that event midweek, even though the restaurant itself is closed. So it really does make it a private party. So let's see. Other than that, we got the creative district. And I know that you've got some stuff on the first Thursday art walk, so I'll kind of leave that. I do know the artist talk on the coming Wednesday, which is the 2nd of November. The artist in resident that will be talking there will be Keith Powell. And Keith Powell, of course, was with David Goverdier, is the other artist that did the Mammoth mural on 395.
And we had Forrest and Keith on last Wednesday. If you want to check that out, that video is on Facebook and YouTube. So, and he was talking about being excited to be there doing the artist talk next week too. So
no, and if you haven't been by, the mural is finished now, and thanks to Kevin Weston window washing, he did all the cleaning, and of course Keith and Forrest did all the touch-ups, and then Brad Schaefer from Waits Lake Rustic did the ceiling, so it's all been sealed. It's done.
Nice.
And Scott, if you can make it here in the first part of the year, what you'll notice on it is the darker colors, especially between the touch-ups and the highlights that were redone, and then the ceiling, those colors just pop. I mean, it was a nice mural before, but now to me, it's better in the sense that it's got more definition. Because
we've got it
more
protected for another decade or so too. So that's very
you bet. Yeah. You bet.
Because the sun really beats all summer long. It beats on the side of that building. So I'm really surprised it was never all bleached out originally.
Well,
from the amount of sun that you get there.
I called the paint manufacturer, which was Bear Paints, and they actually called me back. So,
Surprise, surprise.
and the lady I was talking to said, "You mean that was done in 1999?" I go, "Yeah." I mean, and it faces to the west, and it's on a busy highway. She goes, "Well, our paint's held up pretty well."
Yeah. Especially
And it
road
has.
grime, sun, UV. Yeah, all that stuff.
The whole bit. So, and I'd like to thank, the funding that came through the Creative District, but the funding came from the City of Chihuahua's Lodging Tax Fund. And a lot of people, I actually got asked that the other day by Kat Brooks, who's been writing an article on it. And I think it's important to know the public knows that those dollars actually came out of that lodging tax fund, and we were able to put it to good use. And the Creative District was involved because of the 5013 status and the ability to get it taken care of. So I think you're going to see more of that going forward. I do know that the next project on the same mural is to replace the lighting. And actually, when I met Keith Powell there, we were talking about it, the lighting throws a shadow over it during the day. So it's kind of weird. And so in talking to Tim Nielsen at Trails End Gallery, he gave me some ideas as far as changing out the lighting. And so after the first of the year, I'm going to apply and see if we can get the funding to go ahead and replace the lighting on that mural too. And go to something like dimmable LEDs or, something like that. Because it's got the old style fluorescent lighting that doesn't work anymore. So, but yeah, other than that, the art walk's coming up from the Chihuahua Creative District standpoint. We'll have the Spotlight Gallery up and running, and we have 3 artists that are in there, and we've really been pleased with the response. We've actually got people contacting us now saying, "Hey, how can I get my work in there?" And it's kind of a one-shot deal in one respect, although we're in talks right now with the district of maybe taking that to twice a month. Maybe doing one on a Friday evening to see if we can generate more activity downtown, not only for the artistic side of things, but also for the restaurants and stuff at the same time.
So now Tim at the Trails End Gallery is pretty much the one who started this first Thursday, and everybody else has kind of jumped on board too. Who is Tim's featured artist on Thursday?
I have not gotten that list, so I don't know.
All right, Tim, if you're listening, I know you listen because you post sometimes. You can
Right.
put that on Facebook or shoot me a text, and we'll get that out beforehand. Now I know
Yeah.
his the lecture is going to be with Keith Powell on the Wednesday night before, but I don't know who the featured artist is, and I believe it's a continuation from last month.
I think it is, and I do know that the prospectuses went out last week for Winterfest, and his Winterfest is the judging of the various art classes, the various genres, and that'll go through, I believe, the first part of February. So you'll see, different entries from a whole lot of different people, actually. I mean, that's really kind of taken on a life of its own. And once the Boo Fest is over, I believe the Chihuahua Downtown Association, which is Michelle and Justin Schramm at this point, they'll be working on the Winterfest as far as a public event on February 14th, too.
All right.
And you mentioned something, and it just went fleeting. It'll come back to me about the Thursday night. And I don't know if you've got this on your notes, but there's a rumor floating around that there may be, I guess, that there's a mock-up, one of the horses at Advantage that was sitting in a barn in southwestern or southeastern.
That's supposed to be a surprise, Mike.
Oh, okay. All right.
So stop right there. It's supposed.
Okay.
Forrest is bringing a big surprise to the
surprise.
first Thursday Art Walk, and Mike just spoiler alert.
Okay, so show up. How's that sound?
because he was on the air last week, so saying it was going to be a secret surprise, but
okay.
something about his dad. So Mike kind of let the cat out of the bag, but that is happening on your first Thursday Art Walk. All right.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay.
Also, can I go into the radio stuff, or did you have anything
Hey,
else?
go for it, man.
All right. So also, this is our fall membership drive. Through COVID, we lost a lot of memberships. So instead of doing it twice a year, we figured why go through the trouble, and we consolidated it. So it's our annual membership drive. To renew your membership, you can always do it online at kchw.org and northernlightspublicradio.com, or you can go down when you're at the Art Walk and grab a form, or do it right there. So we are going to be set up, I believe, in front, I could be wrong, of the Aaron Huff Memorial Center. And the featured artist there is going to be Kat Brooks, and her Northern Lights photography. And she's been so sweet to kind of tie that in with Northern Lights Public Radio and give us a little boost so you can see some of her artwork. And Michelle and I should say Melissa got us some really cool Northern Lights Public Radio light up mugs. They are on a first.
Really?
They are on a first come first served basis, because there is a limited number of them. I'm not sure exactly how many we ended up with, but I think there's almost enough for every current member if you just renewal. But if you're at the event, that's where you'll get them. And just get a new or renew your membership, and while supplies last, they will hand you one of these Northern Lights light up mugs, which was a very cool idea. And I think they're going to have some glow sticks and things like that just to kind of go along with Northern Lights. Yeah. So a big thanks to KS Brooks and Michelle and Melissa, and the girls are going to be broadcasting live. And we figured out how I can run the equipment at the studio from Maine so that they can do a live broadcast. So it's kind of weird. I mean, this technology is it blows my mind when I think about how it was when I started in radio, that I can sit here in Maine and have the girls basically shoot a signal to my place here, and then bounce it back to the studio and up to the tower and out to the people. It's pretty cool. So we will be doing a live roundabout. And what really amazes me, it's over 3,000 miles between Chewelah and Lincoln, Maine, and there's literally no delay. I mean, it's better than national news. You know how when they go to the guy out in the field, there's always that, they ask him a question, right, and then you got to wait 3 seconds? We weren't even having that problem. During the last time we tried this, we weren't even having a problem during the fall festival. So pretty cool. And we'll do a little live broadcast for that. All right.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure Michelle's having some kind of a selfie thing for Boo Fest at the radio station too.
She is. So don't forget to swing by and enjoy that. Also a place you could stop by and get a membership form and renew your membership and keep public radio alive. It's our budget's grown because with me retiring, that kind of left the need for a paid position. And the station manager always should be, a paid position. All the DJs work for free, so that is our only paid position. And we need a little boost to keep that going, to keep Michelle on the payroll.
And as you're talking, I'm sure that if somebody wanted to stop by and just do a donation, they'd say yes.
Oh, yeah, we never say no to donations. Never. We've had some pretty cool ones, like we've got a generator at the studio for extended power outages, and that was a person in the community who was passing away and wanted to do something and she didn't want her name mentioned, so I still won't, even though she's gone. She just wanted to do something for the radio station, basically on her deathbed, and she asked me what she could do, and I said, well, we could really use a generator system in case of terrorist attack in Chewelah. But basically we came out of the fires, and at the time when this was about 5 years ago, when we had our first round of fires where they were really evacuating people, and Colville actually lost power. So we were the only radio station in the county on the giving out information for evacuations and that type of stuff. So that kind of inspired her. And my question was, what would have happened if Chewelah would have lost power during those couple days? There would have been no radio stations giving information out in the county because of the lack of electricity. And we have a backup low power system at the radio station for emergencies. And she basically covered the cost of a generator and all the natural gas plumbing for it, because we wanted a generator we could keep indoors. so that in the wintertime you can just wheel it out. It's warm and it starts right up. And we've got a quick connect on the outside, and it runs upstairs to the backup transmitters and stuff. And it was just really a sweet thing that she did for the station, and she did it for the city of Chewelah, which is really kind of cool. I mean, it was like a $4,000 donation that she did to this generator and the natural gas plumbing and the electrician and all that to get it set up. And it was really a sweet thing. So that's something to think about too. It really is. It's a community-based resource. Like I just said, there's only one employee, and supporting it, I think, is kind of important for the town and for the county. It's pretty amazing for a town the size of Chewelah to have a radio station with a signal big enough to cover the whole county and beyond. I mean, you were talking about it today. South Hill gets a good signal. You lose it through the downtown area because it kind of sinks and stuff. But if you go Bigelow Gulch to Argonne and then the freeway, you can listen all the way to the top of the pass. I was sitting in the Walmart at the Hayden Lake. And at the Hayden Lake Walmart, sitting in the parking lot, and bumped my radio one day, and it was on KCHW, and it started coming in clear as a bell. So Post Falls, Coeur d'Alene, it's just kind of weird how far the signal actually goes.
So do they have a big wall at the Canadian border that stops the signal?
No, but that was all part of the frequency planning and everything, and it was kind of weird to do it in Chewelah. You not only had to do an application with the U.S. government, especially when we went to full power, had to do an application with the Canadian government too, because the signal's going to bleed over in spots, and you can't have they've got some kind of treaty with Canada for radio signals, so they had to work it all out. All right.
Okay.
Marion just posted a couple things. She said I was awesome, and then she changed it and said, actually, all of you guys are awesome. And then she says, I think the radio station is a huge part of the community, and so glad it has continued. Thank you very much, Marion. You're very sweet. Great support there.
All right. Well, I got one final thing for this weekend.
All right.
It just jumped out at me. The Rusty Putter. I forgot to mention this.
Okay.
On Saturday is going to have a trunk retreat at the clubhouse. So from 3 to 5 in the afternoon, it'll be the first annual trunk and treat. So we're anxious to see what kind of response we get. And then there's an adult Halloween costume party that evening from 5 to 8.
Oh, how fun!
And they'll be running all kinds of specials. In fact, the two that I jump out at me right here is pesto chicken or shrimp, and fettuccine for $19.95. So if you look for something, you got two things to do on Saturday now. You could go to the trunk or treat in the afternoon. You could grab a bite to eat and then go down to Bradley's to go through the haunted house.
All right.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah.
All right. Also, that weekend of the 4th and 5th, just since we're teasing stuff, don't forget that the Marvelous Wonderettes will be on their second weekend with a show on Friday night at 7, Saturday night at 7. I do not see a what do you call them when they're afternoon? Matinee on Sunday. So the only matinee would be this coming Sunday. They won't have a matinee on the following weekend. It'll just be the Friday night show on the 4th and 5th, both evenings. The Marvelous Wonderettes. Also on the 5th of November, Colville Valley Animal Sanctuary Shot Clinic going on in the morning from 10 to noon. And this is very cool. I want to give this a plug. Talking about places where our signal comes in really great. One of them is Well Pennant. And between 11 and 3 on Sunday, it's Tribal Artisan Day. And this is going to be at the casino. They're going to be showcasing tribal artists, and you'll be able to buy their works. So what a great way to get out and support Native Americans. That's from 11 to 3 on Sunday at the casino on November 6th. I wish I could go to that one. I love Native American art.
I didn't even know that was happening. I'll have to write that down.
All right. Hey, it's on your Chamber of Commerce community calendar there, buddy.
Okay, I'm guilty.
You're guilty. All right. At least he admits it.
Well, and I'm looking at what Banana sent me too, and their New Health is doing a Medicare open enrollment from 9 to 2 on the 29th. So for those that are of Medicare age, you might want to consider that. And then, of course, the blood drive, which Chihuahua is famous for, will be on the 26th. That's actually today, right?
Yes.
It is, yeah.
It is.
From 12 to 5 this afternoon at Dad's Espresso.
All right. And just in case my mom's listening this morning, happy birthday, Mom. She's turning 91. She's got a really bad cold, so that's got to stink. All right.
Right.
Yeah. All right. Unfortunately, I got to put in a request to Tom Walters, or maybe you can take care of it for me. When the Lions Club birthday calendar comes out, I need one sent to Maine because we've been having a really hard time, especially with the Zoom stuff. And now that school started and Michelle's not on the morning show, I don't have my little hot fingers on a birthday calendar for the city of Chihuahua. So I need one zipped out here to Maine. All right, I see Mr. Jason Perrins from the Chihuahua School District is sitting in the green room, ready to go live with us on Facebook and the YouTubes and our website and the radio. So we're going to go to break. When we come back, we'll be talking with Jason. And if we have time, we'll wrap up the show with some fun stuff, too. I got odd news all ready to go for me and Mike. And it not only is it fun to do the odd news, but usually there's a story in there somewhere that will embarrass Mike. And I love doing those. So. And it's so cute, those of you, Mike, sometimes if he gets a story that's maybe a little off color, he says, it's not that he doesn't want me to read it. He just wants, or to have it read on the radio. He just wants me to do it.
That's right.
All right, we've got a little news. We're going to thank a sponsor, and we'll be back with Mr. Jason Perrins. Stand by. It is KCHW 102.7 Northern Lights Public Radio and your morning show.
Okay. Now we're still being recorded, though, right?
It still goes out. Hi, YouTube, Facebook. It's still going out on YouTube and Facebook. We'll send the news back down the line in a minute, but we're going to go ahead and let Jason in and say hi to him. And I'll set up the cameras. There he is right there.
Boy, he looks like a judge.
He does. He's got the big desk behind him.
You do.
If I'm the judge, then everybody's guilty. We're going to move on. Wow.
Good morning.
Good morning.
So I've never seen that logo behind you. Where are you at? That's cool.
Yeah, we had that redone when we did our strategic plan. I don't know if you remember us talking about it last year. I'm sure you did. With all the community, we create a strategic plan and we have goals and focuses. And our promise to the community is that we teach to ready our younger generations, and that's our focus. And we have five things that we're committed to. And in that, once we finish that process, we developed a new brand. So that's our new brand.
I like that.
And it comes in it's got different styles and different looks to it.
Right.
And so you may see that. You'll start to see this on our vehicles. You'll start to see this on our schools. It's going to start, and we're now working with the other schools.
Right.
To have their logos and branding to match the same set, so it'll be all one set.
Consistently, yeah. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Well, the colors actually come close to matching the creative district too.
Oh, do they? Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, and then if you look at the color palette for downtown strategies, I mean, it fits into that very nicely.
Yeah, we have. Let's see here what I can do. So we have this color as part of our palette.
Okay.
And then we have a couple blues and grays, but this is kind of we have our color palette, and that's kind of how it's made up of.
Right.
All right. So I've got your list of some talking points that you'd like to cover. Did you have anything you wanted to add to that?
Something may come up, but I think for now, that's what
All right.
As discussions and questions, you may ask me questions that may prompt a different area and response, which is totally fine. Like that.
So I'm running the show from Maine. And
Yes.
with that means everything we're saying right now as we're in the background, it's not going out over the radio, but it is going out over Facebook and YouTube.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so I'm going to run the audio from the station back down the line, and we have about 5 minutes of news, and then we will go live, okay?
I told people that this would be on the air, but that's not true, right?
It is on the air. Yep, it's on the radio, It's on Facebook, and it's on YouTube.
Okay.
All right?
Okay. Got it.
And our website. So, yep.
Wonderful.
It's magic. All right. All right.
It's magic.
I'm gonna feed
Well,
it back down the line for our YouTube watchers. All right.
Great.
Purdue indexed nearly 75% of tribal college alumni said they were employed in areas related to American Indian communities or tribal lands, and many worked directly with their tribe. Food service workers in Pennsylvania and their advocates want Congress to consider and support a new Restaurant Workers Bill of Rights. Our Danielle Smith has more.
Sammy Chavin is with the group Family Value at Work, a movement of over 2,000 organizations in 27 states, including the Pennsylvania chapter. Chavin says during the pandemic, more than 30 million workers lacked access to any paid sick time, and introducing a Restaurant Workers Bill of Rights in Congress could help change that.
The Restaurant Workers Bill of Rights will ensure that all restaurant workers will be entitled to time to rest, time to heal, and time to live with the security of continued income and a job to come back to. We can create a world with an economy based on care, equity, and respect.
She adds, months of outreach to restaurant workers across the U.S. helped determine what went into the document. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, close to 400,000 people work in food service in Pennsylvania.
Now from NBC News, a 5.1 magnitude earthquake rattled the San Francisco Bay Area, including San Jose and its Silicon Valley on Tuesday. That triggered alerts on tens of thousands of cell phones. Despite all the shaking reported in a region that is home to nearly 5 million people, there were no immediate reports of injuries or significant damage. A retired U.S. Geological Survey seismologist told NBC News it was the largest earthquake in the Bay Area in 15 years. This is PNS. When families began receiving expanded child tax credit payments during the pandemic, the extra family income lifted almost 4 million kids out of poverty. But when the payments stopped, child poverty increased by more than 40%.
In Utah, just a year after the monthly payment stopped, the number of families with children reporting food insecurity increased by 74%. Gina Cornea with the group Utahns Against Hunger thinks lawmakers should reinstate the $300 to $360 per child payments, especially with inflation near double digits.
With the price of food and with the price of gas and all of these other financial pressures these families are feeling, reinstating the monthly child tax credit would really help ease those economic concerns for families.
Congress debated restoring the payments earlier in the current session, but negotiations stalled after conservative lawmakers claimed they contributed to inflation and demanded that work requirements be added to the program. Political observers say it's unlikely the expanded child tax credit will be restored this year. Mark Richardson reporting.
And as National Disability Employment Awareness Month comes to a close, New Yorkers find there's more to do beyond October. According to the U.S. Department of Labor, the unemployment rate for people with disabilities is double that of those without disabilities. Dr. Sharon McLennan-Weir is with the Center for Independence of the Disabled in New York.
For some reason, if you don't have a disability and you come across someone who has an obvious disability, meaning that you can see it, it's not a hidden disability, you say to yourself that initial thought of, oh my God, I can't believe that they're doing A, B, and C, because you can't fathom how that would be if you had that same situation.
Other challenges include making sure businesses understand the Americans with Disabilities Act and how to provide their employees with disabilities what's needed to perform their jobs. Finally, Edwin J. Vieira tells us the Montana Land Board has approved acquiring a new piece of land to become a wildlife management area.
Montana Fish, Wildlife, and Parks has cited the lack of public access to the mountains as a primary factor for an elk population that's 900% over objective. Initially, the land belonged to Forrest Allen of Cody, Wyoming, and it was donated after his death in 2019 to a children's hospital. Local rancher Dick Raths describes how this parcel of land went from being privately owned to its current status.
Forrest Allen willed the land to Show Children's Hospital in Helena, a long-time facility for children in need in Montana, and he also stipulated that he would like to see that land become a resource for the public.
This is Mike Clifford for Public News Service, member and listener supported on our radio stations big and small. Find our trust indicators at publicnewsservice.org.
All right, quiet on the set. And we're back. It's KCHW 102.7, broadcasting live as well as your radio. We are on YouTube and Facebook and our website with video feeds. And I'm inviting you to log into one of those. On Facebook, it's KCHW Radio. Same thing, it's KCHW on YouTube, or our website at kchw.org. And I'm telling you this because we've got our superintendent of the Chewil School District, Mr. Jason Perrins. Welcome back to the radio, Jason.
Thank you very much. It's always a pleasure to be back.
All right.
And once again, thank you so much.
You bet. So, and behind him, a very cool new Chewila logo. Look at that! Wow, we're gonna have you show that off again. We'll give some people time to log on. But Mike, what was your comment when you saw him in front of it?
Here come the judge. Well, it kind of looks like that. You walk into a courtroom, and here's this big logo behind the judge, and he's got that dark pullover sweater on.
Oh, man, I wish I had such a cool logo.
And he's getting ready to read the verdict.
Yeah, so even if you can't watch, check it out on YouTube or Facebook. You can always watch it on a rebroadcast. It saves all of our videos because that logo is super cool. But you've got more important things and reasons why you're here today, correct?
I do. Thank you, Scott. Yes, I do have lots of things to talk about.
All right. Some exciting stuff I noticed going on at Guess Elementary.
Yeah, some wonderful things going on there. One of the things I want to say, first of all, to our public, I can never say thank you enough for the capital levy that was passed last year and the great work that we're able to do to maintain our facilities. And that's really important. We're getting two science classrooms. Just to review, people should know this, but people forget sometimes. And that's one of our biggest problems in life is we forget the past. But when we see it in the future, we're reminded, or some people aren't. But, the goodness of this community is phenomenal. I met last night with the faith community in the church. With several people from different faiths coming together, and it was amazing. I walked out of there just going, this is awesome. And so it's not just that physical support that I'm saying, but also, that responsibility the community's taking and to help our schools. Our schools our buildings are old. They're very old. I want to say 20, 30, 40, at least 40 or more years old.
Well, I'm old, and I went to high school. I was like the first class to go through all 4 years at that time, the new high school.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, and massive thank you to the maintenance over those decades and the people that have maintained those schools. They do such an amazing job, and as we should, because we are responsible to the community for the maintenance of these buildings. And so they do amazing work. But notwithstanding that, you get old. No matter how much you comb your hair and take a shower, you're still getting old. And things are going to break and fall apart. So this capital levy that we have is doing so much good. And we are new science classrooms. We're going to get the announcer's booth, all these things that we got, sidewalks at Jenkins High School, new, what do you call it? Next, I can't remember where the process is, but we'll have the new parking lot and so many other things. We have the new tennis courts. If you've ever driven by there, not that it's on your way, to the store, but if you go through there, you'll see a brand new tennis court. And these things all because of the community. And that can never be missed at all. But at the same time, we have opportunities as a district to do things without accessing resources outside of Chewelah. And we do a phenomenal job at that, I'd like to say, not that, and we are getting grants and we are going out getting funds to also contribute so that we're not putting that burden just solely on our community. And to start off with, we've had an AC problem at the elementary school. And there's just a month in September and always that month in June or sometimes in May where it gets really hot and it's really hard for the kids and anybody to just focus when you're in a sauna. I mean, saunas are great, but not for learning. And so that's when I got here last year, that was the first thing I heard. And so we have written a grant to get funding to put in AC at the elementary. But interesting enough, we won't know about that grant for 2 or 3 more years. If we get the writing grant, which was where we're waiting for now, and we should find out soon. And then we use that money to do the engineering and then we apply for the grant. But that's still a ways out. Well, what's going to happen between now and then? So what we've done is we have, through the ingenuity and the creativity of our maintenance, we've bought these air conditioning units and we stuck them up into the HVAC, the system, and we've inserted them in there. So now we did this, we had this idea a little bit late in the summer, but it's now in place. So now until we get those a fully functioning AC unit in our elementary, we have these that we can pump in cool air to at least not get it hot. I mean, we can't cool it probably down enough to where, it's like walking into a grocery store on a hot day, but we can keep it low enough so that it's not a distraction. And so we're excited about that feature that we've been able to do. As well as in the back, one of the problems we have, again, not so big in this area, this community, you'll see this a lot on the west side where it rains a lot, but we still can spend up to a month or so with kids having recess inside because of the weather. And so through a grant, we have been able to purchase, that's actually being installed right now, a pavilion. So it's an outdoor pavilion roof over a big area so our students can go out to recess regardless of what the weather is. And that's being done, that's actually being installed right now. You could drive by and see all the construction going on. And so those are some great things that I wanted the community to know about, that with their help and with our resources, we're combining them to make our facilities just as good as best as possible for our students.
So Jason, when you're talking about these grants, I think at least my personal experience is there's always a time lag before you know.
Yeah, there is. Yeah.
So how do you plan that? I mean, you just kind of move forward and hope, or?
Yeah, you do. And yeah, there's, that's the strategy. you see your needs, you see what you need, and then you plan it out, and you pay attention closely to what the state's doing and seeing what's coming up. We've applied for grants, more grants than we've been rewarded. So, I mean, I can go down a list of 4 or 5 that we wanted to have to do lots of things and we never got them. But it doesn't mean that we won't keep trying. And we will continue to do that forever. I mean, the capital levies that the community passes are amazing, allow us to do a lot of stuff, but we also feel we don't want that to burden our communities. We're going to do everything we can to not burden our communities, everything we can. So we're going to put a lot of effort into trying to find other resources, and we've been able to do that. And I think the reader board I have on here too, Scott, to talk about, and that's another thing we got a grant for. So we're able to obtain a grant to put a reader board, and this has no tax burden on our community whatsoever. This is, $60,000 that we've been able to, and donations. So it's not just the grant, but we're getting other people to donate. So it's that kind of concept. And if we have to use a little bit of our funds, our budget to taper off a little bit, we can, but the bulk of that is, and that reader board is going to go on the corner of the park. We're working with the city right now, and we would put it on our side on 395 where the old middle school is, but of course, as you know, we're trying to sell that.
Right.
So, and we're in the process of doing that and getting rid of that. So we have to find, but we want that 395. So we're in conversation with the city of Chewelah, and we've been great partners before. I think we talked about the school resource officer last time, the police officer. And so we're partnering up as best we can to use our resources for our community. And so on that corner there right now is the projected place that we're going to put this reader board. It'll be a big digital, whether it's HD or LED, where we can communicate with our community on the wonderful things that are happening, events coming up. And we'll also be, if we partner with the city will also be able to use it to promote their Harvest Fest and those events. So anybody who going back and forth on 395 or driving through town is going to know what's happening in Chewelah, and they're going to want to stay. And that's one of our goals. And also to promote the great things that are happening. We have needs, we have things that we need to get out there to the community, and not everybody goes to a website. So, these are another way that we can communicate with the community. So these are things that we're trying to do also as best we can. And that partnership is working really good here in Chewelah.
Jason, I was at the chamber meeting when you announced the reader board.
Yeah.
And one of the things that jumped out at me was you had talked about it. It's for the school system, so it's going to be branded Chewelah Schools, I assume, in one form or another.
Yes.
But it can still be used for community events.
Yes.
And you said that, I loved your comment that you said you'd been involved in 2 or 3 of these in your career, and this one's by far the most expensive.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that could be just because of the times, who knows? But
right. Yeah. Well,
but also the quality we're going for. We want this to last a long time. And you're right, Mike. I mean, this is something not just for Chewelah Schools, but also for other events and activities for our community, and primarily, obviously, those about students and children. So that's our focus.
So are you doing any active fundraising to offset part of the costs that are beyond the grant?
Donations, looking for donations.
Okay.
Aside for that, as far as fundraising and selling cookies, no, we're not doing anything like that. But I think we've been able to collect. I think we're close to getting what we need, and with the city's help, and by providing resources for them, they've obviously reduced our costs. So it's not just getting money, but getting money to drop costs down.
You've got some in-kind stuff coming in, right?
There you go. Bingo. Yeah.
So what should somebody do if they want to help donate a little bit to help finish the project?
Oh, come and see me. Yeah, okay. Come and see me. Yeah. We are actually getting bids to the final cost. We don't know what the final cost is because we're still negotiating with the sign company about what we want, the size. And if it's 2 more feet, it's this much more. So, but we should have that hopefully by the end of this week. If not early next week, we'll know exactly the sign that we want and what it's going to cost. And then we'll take our grant money and the donations and kind of see. And so we'll know exactly how much we're missing in that regard. So, yeah. And then we'll be able to do that. Good question. Yes.
Yep. All right.
So the sign itself will be controlled out of the administrative building then?
Yeah. This will be something that we'll put up. And then, if the Boy Scouts or if the Girl Scouts or if there's an art, Mike, like you're doing the art thing, if there's anything with the students, you just give that to us and we post it. These signs are pretty tech. You can post this for a certain amount of time. They'll automatically go off and another one will kick in, and it's just on a rotating basis. So we can put video on there, pictures, and that's what we really want to do is highlight our students.
Wow. So you can really embarrass the student of the week, right?
Yeah, we could.
Oh my!
But that wouldn't be the reason why we would do it.
I know.
We're not into embarrassing people. That's not. Obviously with their permission. Obviously, if they don't want it, then we're not going to. We're not a tyrannical district, so we're okay. We respect people.
Okay, so it sounds like sometime by next week for sure you'll have hard costs and what it's going to be and what your shortfall is going to be.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. All right. Well, and that point, let us know so we can, start beating the streets.
Yep. Exactly. Yep.
All right. So what's this school year? You've just gotten started. What are some of the curriculum changes? And I know you've had a teaching shift.
Yes, this is a great thing happening. We have partnered with Solutions Tree, and if you want to Google them, and it's called PLCs, which is Professional Learning Communities. I know this is new language for the listeners, but essentially what it is teachers working together in a very structured and meaningful way to improve student performance. And I know that's a big mouthful, so let me unpack it just a little bit. The state requires us to teach certain standards. So like there's 22 in algebra, 18 in history, and they have all these standards. Well, there's just not enough time for us to teach all those, at least to guarantee that they're being learned. Does that make sense? So we can cover a lot of them, but does that mean all the students are getting them? It's like if I turned the lights off in the classroom, I took a flashlight and I went like this, and okay, whoever got touched got it. But then there's a lot of kids left out and they don't get it all. So we're redirecting we're going to start heading towards the direction of, okay, here's what the state requires, but here's our priority standards. These are the ones of the 18 or whatever that we feel are the most critical, that they have to have by grade. So if you're in second grade, you need to know these for third grade, and you need to know these for fourth grade and so we're going to create these priority standards, and we're going to guarantee that students will learn those because our focus will be on that. So when you talk about intervention, so if you can't do X, and that's a priority standard. So think of them as boulders. So you got boulders, rocks, and sand, okay? So a lot of stuff is learned in school. In fact, kids learn more in school, going to school, than the teacher ever assesses. I don't know if that makes sense or not. So the teachers are always teaching, but they only assess this part, and the grade only reflects what the teacher assessed, but the kid learns a lot more. So, but our commitment is, here's the boulders, here are the priority standards, and these are what we want. These we guarantee students will know. And we'll teach the rocks, and we'll throw in some sand, and those would be great things because we want the learner to be able to learn according to their needs, but these are the things we guarantee. And so that's the shift that we're making in refocusing. That's going to take a couple of years to do that. So this won't be the first time. When we're on the radio, I think I'm on the radio 2 or 3 times a year. This won't be the first time because this takes a lot of time to do. And then you have to change the way you teach, and then you change the way that you intervene. And so there's a lot of trickle effects, ripple effects once you start going down that road. And our professional learning communities, which is when teachers get together every week and they bring the student work from that prior week and say, okay, here's what I'm doing. Here's what didn't work. Here's Johnny, here's Susie, here's Mike, here's Scott. They're getting it, they're not getting it. What are we going to do to make sure they get those priority standards and they get those? And so what interventions are we going to throw in there? And then how are we going to continue on? And so those are the kind of conversations. That's a shift in our professional work. It's that those conversations have always been held. I've been in education for a long time, and we've always had those conversations, but those are always side conversations. And now we're going to structure it, and it's going to be a weekly endeavor. And so that's kind of, I don't want to bore too, it's exciting for us, but just to know that when you send your child to us, we're going to guarantee every year they're going to have these. And of course, they'll learn more, but at least we're going to say they know these, and that's what our commitment is.
So is that whole concept, break it down to the level of the student instead of the class?
Yeah, it does.
Okay, so it gets rid of what I call the homogenizing of education.
Yeah, but when you teach us these boulders, these priority standards, your kids are going to get them. It's not we're going to teach them second graders, Newton's laws of physics, although we should probably start. But it's like we're going to get there, and we're going to get every student. Our commitment is to get every student for each grade level to move forward. And you can teach groups that, but there's some individuals who will need different approaches or different strategies to get them there.
Right.
Yeah. And that's what teachers talk about during that PLC time. Hey, these 2 students, let's put them here. Let's give them that extra support so they can get that standard or that priority.
I'm just curious. I saw a national story when they were talking about how because of COVID and lockdowns and the whole scenario over the past, I guess we're coming up on 3 years, that students have fallen behind in learning. Do we see that locally in any regards?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh yes, yeah. It's hands down. We have got a lot of catching up to do.
So that this new program is like a perfect way to kind of address that too, right? Get those boulders.
I mean, it's taking best practices of what we've known that we've always been doing, but it's been in South, North, and West. We're bringing them together. It's been all sporadic, and this taking what we know works and putting it together. The idea that kids are behind, some kids didn't get behind, and some kids were able to stay up, and but there's a lot of students that did not. This pandemic shutdown situation, it hurt kids. It did, and it sometimes angers me, and I'm trying to be mature about it. But it's pretty sad that what happened to these children, and they're the ones going to suffer for a long time. Now, of course, we're going to try to regroup that, but sometimes the decision of adults and their good intentions can turn out bad.
Did not work out.
The road that's paved of bad things happening all began with good intentions, and I think we're going to be seeing this. Now we have the staff to make the change. We have the staff to really work with these students. It's just going to take a lot of effort on the students' part as well, and it's a team effort. Last night when I was with the community talking, I said, we can't teach kids to the level that we all want without your help. And we need, if the families think that they can dump their child off at our school and say, hey, great, then the system will never work. So that partnership is essential. And that's something that we really have to focus on. We can do a lot, but we can't do it all. And that can come into, Scott, that it's not just in the learning, it's in the behavior. So many kids haven't been in school, they've been running around, and I don't know, I'm not saying that the home life is not a good place, that's undisciplined, but there are certain things that the culture of going to school and that cooperation and learning to work with others is difficult. And so a lot of our staff are trying to that challenge. Some kids are off the charts, and some kids are just, they're on their phones and they're not really wanting to engage. And so engagement means a lot. To get students to come to class and be engaged is a lot more difficult now than it ever was than years ago. Usually kids come in there and yada, and now they're not so much. And I'm not saying all kids, but you can see a growth number in that. And so it's a big challenge that we had to have with us, a big one.
Well, I imagine COVID was tough for the parents too, because let's say mom and dad both work and they're busy, and they got a kid that has maybe some attention issues, and they can't be there, to excuse the term, but policing and making sure that they're doing their schoolwork and they're staying on task, and things kind of slip through the cracks. I'm sure it's happened everywhere. So
and at no fault of their own, really. It's just a shame. It's just a sad. But you know what? It is what it is, and now we have to focus on the future, and we have to focus on our students. And it's nice to reflect and lament the past, but we really got to center ourselves on what we can do
moving forward. Yeah.
Well, it sounds to me this PLC program will help a lot towards that.
Yeah,
because it identifies the individual needs that is being communicated among the educators.
Yeah.
And so it basically is customizing the education.
Right. And I guess kudos, or whatever the word is, to our staff, because we have a lot of staff that have been doing these PLCs for quite a bit, and they've been doing it well. Our goal right now is to get everybody on board and to do vertical. So you have horizontal, which is, grade level teachers talking to each other. Now we're going to start doing vertical, which is, okay, first grade teachers are going to talk to second grade teachers. And so there's a continuity all the way through, so that each teacher will know which child should have learned, is going to learn to be able to be successful at the next grade. So we're going to do that vertical concept. That's what we call vertical. So there's just going to be a more concerted effort in that. And that's what we're hoping to achieve.
So what that kind of just leads us right into the last thing you had on your list of talking points is what kind of challenges are you still facing? I know across the country, especially in our southern states, staffing shortages. Our whole country is hurting for teachers. How are you dealing with that?
That's making it more difficult. So the stress on our staff and on the kids either, especially that consistency you want, is what's really hurting us. It's hurting our culture because we don't have the staff, and we have positions that we still can't fill. I've got teaching positions and I've got paraeducators. They've been open and no one's applying for them. And so what happens is that, I got my principal who's doing, teaching classes, and I've actually subbed some, which is, I actually enjoy that, but and teachers, when they get sick, they're out, and they have their personal days and they have all these things that they have their rights to, but they're not in the classroom. And so that creates inconsistency from students, because learning, the brain learns only one way. You can't learn. It's got to be consistent, repetitive. It's got to be disciplined. It's got to be hard. And you have to have support. And when you have subs coming in and out and things are confusing and kid shows up and it's not consistent, that really throws the bubble off a little bit. And so that's what's hurting us a lot. And our staff are covering for each other. They're doing amazing stuff. And it's hard on them. And we're not any different than any other profession. I know that. I know everybody's struggling to get people hired.
Right.
But we really do. We need people we need great people that can join our team and to help us. So
I have a friend who is a sub in the district, and she's retired, and she just kind of did it as was going to do. She started years ago as a way to pick up a little extra money. And I was talking to her a few months ago, and she goes, "It has turned into a full-time job. I work every day."
Yeah, we do.
So bless
our
her heart.
subs, I think our subs are working every day. They have to take days off. And but right now, substitute teachers are the most valuable players in this game right now. I mean, when it comes to, that tipping point, where obviously our teachers are very valuable for that foundation, but when you have that layer over there that's not functioning, it's felt, the ripples effects go all the way through. So we increased the pay last year to subs.
I remember that.
I wouldn't mind entertaining the thought to continue to increase it even more. But we definitely subs are the foundation right now. They're very valuable. And
what are the requirements for a substitute? If there's somebody out there listening that goes, I could work a couple days a week, and what are the requirements?
4-year degree.
Okay.
That's it. To be a full-fledged sub to where you can do lots more, obviously you need a teaching certificate. But for now, to be emergency sub, to be a sub in the building, just a 4-year degree. We'll get you emergency certified. We get that going, and you'll be working as much as you want.
So how do people even know the positions are available?
Well, for like the radio shows like this.
Okay.
And we put things in the paper. Now, as far as jobs, if they go to our website, or there's some school sites that we have posted these positions I'm talking about. I'm actually looking international. So I've got 3 or 4 candidates I'm looking in other countries to bring in teachers. I'm having to go through immigrations, which has an expense, but at this point, I've been going back and forth with somebody in Egypt. I got a couple people and one person in the Philippines. So I'm now reaching out to educators in the world who want to come to the States and work. So that's where I'm at right now, which is not necessarily a bad place to be, but it just shows you how desperate,
how far-reaching it is.
Yeah, how far-reaching it is. And I know the resources is out there. I've worked and lived abroad for several years, so I know that there's great teachers out there, and that not just in America. So they're out there. So the resources there. It's just how do we tap into those and bring them here to Chewelah and to continue to grow and have the best teachers in our community.
Well, and that's another tough problem with the housing shortage and stuff too, because you get them here and they got to have a place to live and stuff too. So you get your hands full.
I do. I'll start building homes. How's that? I'll find a lot over here. There's a few empty ones. I'll just start building little places for my teachers.
Well, you could do is you could take a land kind of south of the high school and put tiny homes in there.
I could. And that's what they do internationally. You laugh, but that's how it is internationally.
Wow.
Really?
When I was in South America in Colombia, we had apartments that we put our teachers in. So,
Well, if you don't sell the middle school, you got a hotel.
Hey, that's not a bad idea. Wait a minute. Let's think about that for a second.
Okay.
I need to get a bond though. It's going to cost $1 million plus to fix that
Sure.
place up. But we could turn it into a hostel,
Oh, there you
and just for teachers. I'll have to think about that, Scott. It's not a bad idea.
go. All right.
Teachers would come here, work, rent free. Okay.
There's
I
a
think we
bonus
got
in
something.
that, right? Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Glad I could
Good,
help.
good. Absolutely. I'll look into that.
All right. Have we missed anything you wanted to cover today or anything that's popped into your mind, Jason?
Nope. This is good. Good stuff. Just want to thank you for having me on. Absolutely. This
Always a pleasure.
allows us to communicate with the community and tell them how awesome and supportive they are, and for them to know maybe some of the challenges and some of the great things that we're facing in the future and how positive things are looking despite the negative things around us. So we're doing a phenomenal job. Got a great board, phenomenal board that I'm working with. Love them to death. And so we're doing some great things. We have our hiccups. We're not perfect. So we are dealing with some heavy stuff as well, but we'll just try to keep that as a wraps and keep the light shining on our students and our schools. And that's where we want to be. So thank you.
So you're still doing your newsletter, right?
Yep. In fact, I have one coming out in November. I have one for a year. So November, I think February, and then somewhere around in there. Yep. And that's just,
And that-
yeah.
And that goes to all mailing addresses in the school district, correct?
Yep. All the ones that that we can find. Yes. If you're hiding in a cave, we probably can't get to you. But if you have an address in Chewelah area and surrounding areas, so we go up into as many as we can. Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Okay. So just out of curiosity, do you have a piece in that newsletter talking about the opportunity for subs?
Oh, in the newsletter? Yeah, that'll come out with a lot of announcements and showing a lot of things we talked about here will be in the newsletter. Yep.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to put you on. I'm going to put you on full screen, and I want you to show off that new
Oh,
logo again. And you said we're going to start seeing that on vehicles and stuff around the school vehicles and stuff too, right?
That is correct. You'll see this on our vehicles and our schools and logos. This will be on our reader board and some other stuff. So I think in the next few months, you'll start to see this really, you'll notice who we are and where we are for sure.
All right. Very cool branding. I love it. I wish I had something
I
wish I had something that cool behind me. All right.
Yeah, but you're in Maine.
You're in Maine, yeah. Put a lobster up there. You'll be fine.
Oh yeah,
Right.
yeah. I could actually do that. I've got a really cool picture of a lobster I could superimpose. It's a building, where they process the lobster, and on the entire back of the building, I was there having dinner, and I went out and sat at the picnic table, and the whole back of their building is one giant, painted lobster on the back of it as a mural.
Wow,
it's fun. All right, Jason, thank you very much for joining us again and sharing with us what's going on at our local school district. You're awesome at it. I think you might already be breaking the record for the most times a superintendent has appeared on the show. So there you go.
Thank you.
What's the number? What do I have to go to?
I don't know. One more maybe. So just keep it coming. We really appreciate it, and you're doing a great job. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and have a great rest of the day and the week.
All right.
Appreciate it.
You bet.
All right.
Same to you.
Okay, bye-bye.
We appreciate it. There you go, our Chewelah Superintendent Jason Perrins. If you missed any part of the interview today, you can always catch that online on our YouTube channel or our Facebook page. And we've got a little bit of time, Mike. Let's go ahead and close out the show with some odd news. You think you can handle that?
It's been a while.
It's been a while. Well, slap the bacon on the biscuit.
Slap some bacon on a biscuit and let's go. We're burning daylight.
It's the world of strange. A world gone wacky.
Out here, due process is a bullet.
And some of the scariest people on the planet.
I think you're bluffing.
be afraid.
You know, you look mighty pretty when you get mad.
It's your odd news on KCHW.
Just sit back and enjoy the show.
Now, Mike, you think you're going to be able to handle this? You're wiggling your glasses. You were complaining about your new cataract. Don't you wish that was a boat instead of an eye problem? Oh, yeah, I got a brand new cataract. You ought to see it. It's really nice.
That's right. Yeah. Well, you know, years ago, I used to have a catamaran. Much funner than cataracts.
I think it should be a boat. I think I was right.
Okay. All right.
All right. We always start off with the news attack where the first part is true and the second part is a really bad joke. And, Mike, you feel comfortable starting things off this morning?
Sure.
All right.
You know, I'll start out in Florida.
Okay.
What better place to start?
Perfect.
If you want to find something weird, go to Florida.
Go to Florida.
Anyway, a suspected thief in Florida helped himself to some convenience store goods and then became stuck in an air shaft.
Happened to me.
It turns out he should have eaten those Twinkies a little later.
Too fat to fit in the air. That's probably what would happen to me if I tried to rob a convenience store. Quickly go south. All right. According to a survey, people fear how they'll die more than death itself. Survey also revealed that public speaking is a greater fear than death. Look at that. We've overcame it.
We've overcome that. So we're immortal.
Yes. The next thing to worry about is that comes in second for a fear of death is not having your Wi-Fi.
Oh, man. Is that true?
Yes.
I mean, you know, the Wi-Fi went down last week for about 4 hours, and basically it looked like from Colville to Monica's, it said.
We had to cancel the show yesterday because Val didn't have internet. See how horrible it is? Yeah.
I mean, our world revolves around it.
It does.
So anyway, so I'm going to take a break. I'm going to become a tourist.
Okay.
Okay, but, you know, I'm not sure about the Grand Canyon because 5 tourists were trapped underground in the bottom of a cavern tour at the Grand Canyon Caverns. Ooh, luckily, Starbucks now has 6 new locations in the Grand Canyon.
In case
I read this story, and I guess there's an elevator to get down here, or 21 flights of stairs, and they said the people were in such bad shape they didn't want them to go up the 21 flights of stairs to get to the top.
Wow.
And it wasn't an electrical issue because they had a generator. It was a mechanical issue. As far as I know, they're still down in the Grand Canyon having their Starbucks.
They're never going to get out.
Never going to get out.
All right. If you're going to use a public restroom stall, avoid the middle one because researchers say it probably gets used the most. It's going to be the dirtiest.
Hot tip.
Yeah. Obviously, it gives you double the number of people to ask for a few sheets of toilet paper if your roll is out, too.
You go either direction.
That's right. Hey. That's gross.
Oh, you're following the World Series, right?
Yes, always.
Always. Okay. You know, when I was a kid, it was like you always followed it. But now I couldn't even tell you who's in it. So, right. And this is a good reason. World Series tickets are now going for thousands of dollars.
Wow.
Ooh, darn that inflation.
Horrible. All right, Green
So have you been listening to some of the musical concerts that are being priced by Ticketmaster based upon how popular they are?
It's ridiculous. People paying thousands of dollars to see Paul McCartney, and yeah.
The fewer the tickets become available, the higher the price gets automatically due to algorithms.
That's so unfair. I mean, I feel really, you know, the only person I believe it hasn't happened to is Bob Dylan.
That's because they tried giving those tickets away.
Nobody would take them. All right, I know there's some big Bob Dylan fans out there, and I'm happy to say I don't get it. All right,
he's a great lyricist, but his voice is suspect.
I think he's a musician's musician, is what I call it. Is where musicians are always nuts for him because of the lyricist or the playing or something like that. But the rest of us kind of scratch our heads at it. We're musician. That's all I hear. All right, we'll stop picking on him. Greenpeace says Americans recycle only 5 to 6% of plastic. This is a huge problem. I'm really upset that, a president hasn't done an executive order that says, hey, 5 more years, no plastic. Figure out something else to wrap your stuff in. It's getting ridiculous. All right. So Greenpeace says Americans recycle only 5 to 6% of their plastic, but we think about recycling 10 to 12% of the time, so it makes up for it.
Hey, I came up with a brilliant idea yesterday.
Okay.
I'd stopped by and got a cup of coffee with a croissant. I love croissants. And they put it in a little paper wrapper. I'm thinking, what if they made those edible?
Like out of rice paper, so you just eat the whole thing?
Yeah, eat the whole thing.
It's brilliant.
Wouldn't that solve a lot of problems?
It would be.
Okay,
yes.
You heard it first here.
All right. We got to wrap stuff. Or that corn paper, because they can make it out of paper. They can make cups out of corn. You could just eat, when you're done, you can just eat it.
Just eat it. Yeah, kind of like an ice cream cone.
No garbage. Yeah.
Exactly.
All
okay,
right.
They heard it first on KCHW.
Thank you, Mike.
Okay. Okay. All right. Okay. Well, a study finds that women are more likely to drop the F-bomb than men.
Does not surprise me.
That's because men probably give the women more reason to drop the F-bomb.
This is true. All right, one more study before we go on to Wacky But True. Study found the middle class spends more money at McDonald's than the poor. Thank you, McRib.
Except it's on a limited term basis.
Oh, I hate that because it's like the best. All right.
I've never had one.
Oh, really? Buy it and freeze it. So I'm a real fan of and I know I shouldn't be promoting, McDonald's, but I'm a big fan of the McChicken. Because it's on the cheap menu and stuff, and whenever I get food, even if I don't want a McChicken, I get one because it's the only McDonald's food that's good cold.
Really?
Yeah.
Cold
so
chicken?
you put the McChicken sandwich in the fridge, and then you know what I call it, and they have to pay me for this because I did invent it. It's been on recordings over and over. It's my McMidnight. Wake up after midnight, you're all hungry. Here's this cold chicken sandwich. It's delish. My McMidnight.
I got a stupid fact for you.
Okay.
Leftover pizza. What's the average number of days it sits in the refrigerator before it's eaten?
I'm gonna say 2 tops.
5.
Really?
Yeah.
I ain't eating 5-day-old pizza.
I remember that was a trivia thing I saw the other day, and I'm sort of thinking, 5-day-old pizza? It's got to be so rubbery.
Oh, not only that, it's probably spoiled. I think the shelf life is past.
Right.
All right, we'll file that one under Wacky But True, and that's where we headed. We don't add anything to these stories but some movie quotes. You're up first again, Mike.
I am. Ooh, it's nice to be first.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, a cashier in Austria stopped a robbery without a weapon.
Okay.
When a masked woman walked into the store and demanded cash, the clerk reached under the counter for the first thing she could find. A can of bug spray.
Oh.
She started spraying the robber and kept spraying until the woman ran away.
I think that would really burn. It's probably better than pepper spray, more toxic, more cancer causing.
Well, I first thing came to my mind was bear spray.
Ooh. Wow. Bug spray, huh? Here we go.
Your fault.
But it's a bug-eat-bug world out there, princess. One of those circle of life kind of thing.
And she lost. All right, Japanese police nabbed a nimble ninja thief who dressed in black and scrambled over walls to commit scores of break-ins over an 8-year career. They were astonished to find the ninja burglar 74 years old. Mike.
I know, 2 years, I'll be a ninja burglar.
There's still hope for you. Thief made a mistake when part of his disguise slipped off and his identity was revealed on camera. Oh, man.
Oh, leave me alone. I'm 112 years old. I'm done.
Don't be an Adolf Hitler.
I couldn't decide with this one, too, just because I thought, when his mask came off and he got caught. 74-year-old ninja. Oh, man. I will never be in that good of shape.
Yeah, I was going to say, I've never been in that good of shape. Okay, let's go to China.
All right.
We'll stay in the Far East. Okay, a man in China was so desperate to escape the constant fighting between his girlfriend and his ex-wife that he robbed a store to deliberately get himself arrested.
Wow.
So have you used that tactic?
For my ex-wife and my girlfriends, yes. Wow. And why is your girlfriend and your ex-wife in contact and fighting anyways, right?
That's right.
It seems like
exactly.
Seems like a bad mix.
Come on down here. Help me, Jesus. Help me, Jewish God. Help me, Allah. Ah! Help me, Tom Cruise.
Anyone, help me, please. All right. Here we go. It's Sweden now. Oh, I love the Swedes. Sweden, 2 guys armed with a handgun and a crowbar attempted to rob a bank. Unfortunately, they failed to read the sign on the front door that it was a cashless bank. You ever heard of a cashless bank? How good is that? It's not even fun. All right, cashless bank, and there was no cash on the premises. Undaunted, they left and headed to a nearby grocery store to rob that, but they were foiled by a quick-thinking employee who saw them coming and locked the doors before they got inside. You shouldn't brandish your gun as you're going into the store.
Yeah, going in, yeah. Or pull the mask down.
Yeah, just a suggestion, though. You can do whatever you want. Same employee also got their license plate number of their car as they attempted to escape. Right? And this is what he yelled over the megaphone in the parking lot.
Attention, idiots.
We have locked the doors. All right, our last one today is all you, Mr. Bentz.
Oh, yeah, but this is true of everywhere.
Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. A man everywhere was so sick of seeing political campaign signs in the yards of his neighbors that he decided to steal as many as he could possibly could. By the time he was caught, the man had stolen 244 political signs, and he wasn't out of his neighborhood yet.
Oh, that's funny. My daughter put 10 in the very front of the yard. And I said, you know, you're the only Democrat in town. You're going to get us egged. Wow. But I get it with the political signs. And you know, if you're tired of politics and all that kind of stuff, don't forget, no political advertising on public radio. Government, surprisingly, the government made that illegal. They tried to reverse it. Politicians did, but it didn't stick. Yeah, they reversed it for like a year, and then it got thrown out. But because they want access to all the airwaves. So the only thing where you can do in public radio, debates, one-on-ones, that kind of stuff, but no political advertising. I love it. It's a really nice, I think, break for people to head to public TV or public radio and avoid all that stuff.
Well, that's one of the things that, you taught me early on is you got to be really careful during an election on who you say or what you talk about because of the equal time issue.
Yes, yeah. And somebody that's running for office can't even be on the radio.
Right.
Now they can be a news story. Let's say there's a news story that breaks out, and let's say there's a election for sheriff, and there happens to be an important news story, and he's given a quote. Well, yes, you can give the sheriff airtime for that important news story. It's different than him promoting being reelected. Right. So
yeah. Well, I've got this list of people I'd love to have on the radio, but I'm going to have to wait until after next week.
And after it's all over with. All right, 200. My sound effect for 244 political signs being stolen was.
Prepare to meet Mr. Angry Eyes.
Or perhaps this one was good.
That makes me angry. And when Dr. Evil gets angry, Mr. Bigglesworth gets upset. And when Mr. Bigglesworth gets upset, people die!
All right, there you go.
Yeah, I've got this theory that they ought to make political signs edible.
So can I admit to something? That I don't think it was illegal, but after elections before, then people didn't pick up their signs because they have a limited amount of time to pick up their signs.
Right.
But some people will just leave them behind. I have taken those old political signs that got left behind, spray painted them, and put radio signs on them. It's recycling, baby. I'm recycling.
That's right.
Yeah. So, all right. I've done
So
other
what are they
horrible
going to
things
be
I won't
good
talk
for
about.
anyway? Save them to next time?
And then what if they don't run? That's right. That's
Right.
right. All right, we're going to roll out of the show today. I do want to tease a couple things. Tomorrow is Three Amigos Thursday. I think both my amigos will join me. That's Chuck Ritchie and Alan Milani. I think we've been off for the past few weeks where I've only had one amigo. But I think it is a Three Amigos Thursday. And then very exciting news on the Friday show, returning to Fridays permanently. Permanently, he says. Yeah, he says. Brandon Hanson.
Oh, really?
Yes. Now, he will be on this Friday, and it's going to be our Halloween special. So lots of scary sound effects and that kind of stuff. And we have some scary stories we're going to tell. Also, threw out a thing if you wanted to submit a scary story to and possibly even be on the radio. If you want to be on the radio and tell your scary story, KCHW radio at yahoo.com. Just send us your story or send me a note that says you want to be on the show, and it's got to be scary. All right, I can add some sound effects to help. But so if you have some scary stories, do that. KCHW radio at yahoo.com or send me a message through Facebook or something like that. So we've got that for Friday. We do have some scary stories to tell and share. And, of course, Brandon Hanson. And then I think he's off the next Friday to a previous commitment, but he's going to be a regular back on Fridays with me and Philip Dutton. So we're excited about that. Because one thing you might not know is people in Chewelah love Brandon Hanson. Trying to think of a better...
Silence.
Yeah, silence or this one. Let's try this one. People in Chewelah love Brandon Hanson.
Oh, is that what you want?
Yup.
Because that's how you get ants.
All right. Big thank you to my buddy Mike Vance, back on a Wednesday.
You bet. See you next week. And then you're taking off the following week, aren't
And
you?
then I am taking off the following week. And, yeah, there we go. So, and then it's always hit or miss through the holidays. So,
yeah.
Because you go to Montana and visit family and all that kind of stuff. All right. I want you to take care. How's your knee?
It's there.
It's there. All right. All right.
It's getting better. I went to the doctor, and I'm actually getting closer to where they'll do the surgery.
Okay.
But it's probably still going to be the first part of the year. So,
is your bad eye and your bad knee on the same side?
Well, not anymore.
Oh. All righty then. Huh. Okay. We'll keep it mixed up. All right. Once again, Mike Vance, I'm Scott Allen. You have a great day, and please keep on listening to Northern Lights Public Radio. Don't forget, next week, we've got the Art Walk. First Thursday Art
That's
Walk.
right.
We will be out with those light-up Northern Light mugs. And, of course,
Yep, they'll be
featuring
live
Pat Brooks
at,
and her Northern
Hudson.
Light Photography. Yep. And we'll be live on the air, and you can stop by and renew your membership for 2023 right at the beginning of the year. That is, a big expense for us with music licensing. So that's what we really need those memberships to come in and help with that. It's like over $4,000 for that now, too. And another thing that helps, which we will be rolling out, next week, is getting ready for those musical Christmas cards. Reserve your slot now. There you go. All right.
Okay.
Other than
And
that,
those are limited editions, right?
what, the musical Christmas cards? We only have 24 slots for those. So
Right.
get one for your family, your business, however it be. All right. Northern Lights Public
Okay.
Radio. Peace out. Thank you, Mr. Bentz.
You bet. See you in a week.
All right. Be safe out there.
You bet. Bye.